to feel this is their year.
They must be playing defensive. Schmeichel's not coming up for this one. Thinks he's done enough.
Is this their moment? Beckham. Into Sheringham. And Solskjaer has won it! Manchester United have reached the promised land. Oli Solskjaer. 2 substitutes. That's scored the 2 goals in stoppage time. 4, and the treble looms large.
Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel, and we're back with another morning news show. Plenty to get into, plenty of Manchester United news breaking over the weekend, and it's been an interesting weekend. It's been good to see Manchester United players doing well on international duty. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, the main talking point over the last few days has been Marcus Rashford and what can be, I suppose, perceived as maybe a falling out with Gareth Southgate, not on maybe a direct level, but obviously Southgate wasn't, you can tell by Southgate he wasn't happy that Marcus Rashford has pulled out of international duty, and obviously Rashford has been on a bit of a break in New York over the weekend. There's been pictures of him cycling around New York and things like that. He has got an injury, it does have to be noted, but we're going to get into it and we'll see what you guys think. Should Rashford be prioritising club over country, given maybe how he's been treated by Southgate and maybe how he's been used sparingly? Let's put it that way. We're also going to talk about transfers as well, guys. Kind of rumours heating up in relation to a potential new striker for Manchester United. A number of different strikers being, I suppose, put forward and touted as potential targets for United over the summer. So we'll get into that as well. But yeah, plenty to get into. Make sure you leave your thoughts into the chat. If you're watching back at a later time, let me know in the comments below. But of course, look, we're going to start with Marcus Rashford. And, you know, I think obviously it came out over the weekend that Southgate is not particularly happy with Marcus Rashford. Now, he did basically say he's not available. You know, what can we do? And he quickly backtracked on what he said, you know, because there was, you know, you could tell there was backlash from what he said last week. And we did discuss that last week as well, so we won't go over that again. But he reflects on his previous statements from Rashford, said we would like to have him and as an option. That's not the case. It's obvious he's played a lot for us. He has more than 50 caps with England, including nearly 50 since I became coach. So, look, Marcus Rashford has 50 caps for England at, what is he, 24, 25? You know, he has an awful lot of caps. He's played an awful lot of times for England. Now, I do understand that there has been occasions where he has pulled out of, you know, the England squads due to injury and things like that. And they tend to be for the lesser games. Now, me personally, I think this is kind of blown out of context a little bit. When he pulls out, he tends to have injuries. He has been injured quite a lot over the last couple of years. And I think on the back of it, we've seen him play for England, you know, while he's been injured also. So, like, Marcus Rashford delayed an operation to play for England. Now, I know it was a major competition, and you could say that, you know, if it was maybe, you know, friendlies or qualifiers, whatever it may be, he may not have done that. And I think rightly so. He probably shouldn't have done that. But, you know, I mean, me personally, now, obviously, I'm not English, and I'm looking at this from the outside, and me personally, I am delighted with Marcus Rashford, given the form, especially that he's in this season, doesn't go on international duty because it means he gets a rest. I'd like to know what maybe English people would, you know, English Manchester United fans would, their thoughts on it. You know, are they happy maybe that Rashford is pulling out of international duty, or is it something you would like to see him, you know, these say, no, we want to see you play for England? On the counteract, or on the opposite side of that, you were going to look at, say, what Marcus Rashford and how he was treated in the World Cup. You know, he got very minimal time. Anytime he scored a goal, he was benched the following game. I think did he get 12 or 13 minutes against France in the semi-final? Raheem Sterling started ahead of him, you know, and Raheem Sterling wasn't even there all week. Obviously, he had to fly back home because his house got burgled. So I think it's pretty clear that Marcus Rashford isn't a favourite of Gareth Southgate. And we know when it comes to the England setup, it's very important for you, if you want to be in the team, that you be one of Gareth Southgate's favourites. You know what I mean? It's quite clear. Liam says, why did Southgate have to put in since I became coach? Is he that self-centered? Look, it's strange. Look, he does go on to say as well that once he's released from the group, it's up to him how he spends his time. The players don't have a lot of rest time. If they have 48 hours with his schedule currently, I think they have to take advantage of it. And I think this is what Marcus Rashford is doing. I really do. And I think it's kind of it kind of reminds me of the Fergie era, I have to say. And I mentioned this previously, that when Ferguson was in charge of Manchester United and there was a busy schedule, he put the foot down with players and said, look, you're going to play these games with England or whoever your country is. They can do without you for this one, and stay home, take a rest, take a week or two off, go off on holidays for 5 or 6 or 7 days, whatever it may be, and get back in, get refreshed, get recharged, get re-energized for the run-in before the end of the season. We've seen it an awful lot with Ferguson down through the years. And this kind of gives me the same vibe, I have to say. Now, we could be thinking way outside of the box here. It could be very obvious that Marcus Rashford does have an injury and he just wants rest, and Ten Hag and maybe the medical team within Manchester United said, no, you need to rest. So look, it's interesting. I'm delighted that he is that he's not on international duty. I think it's very positive for United. Obviously, he is our talisman this season, and the more rest he can get while Manchester United are not playing, the better it is for us. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments below, especially if you're from England and you're a Manchester United fan. Let me know what you think about Marcus Rashford. Do you think he should be prioritising club over country? Given the fact that England have won their 2 games anyway, is it something that frustrates you, or are you happy as United fans? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like I've said personally, I'm quite happy that he's not on international duty, given the fact that I don't have any allegiances to England. So it's good from my side. But talking about international duty, and we've had some very, very good performances by Manchester United players throughout the transfer window or throughout the international break. It's been really good, and I think it's been really positive. Seeing so many of our players doing well. Bruno Fernandes is playing really well. Scott McTominay has scored. Casemiro has scored. Sabitzer has scored. So our players are doing well while they're away on international duty, which is really good to see. Obviously, we would like them to be getting more downtime and more rest. I see Bruno Fernandes did get substituted after 15 minutes, after 75 minutes, which, gives him 15 minutes of rest. But look, it's, in a way, you want players to be rested, when they're Manchester United players and they're away on international duty. But on the other hand, it's very positive that, we have players that are, playing at such a high level, scoring goals, playing well. It is positive to see. The last player that we mentioned there is Marcel Sabitzer. Now, a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks is, will he want to stay at Manchester United at the end of the season? Obviously, he's on loan from Bayern Munich, and there is no option to buy. Okay, so Manchester United don't have, an option to go in and buy. Now, that doesn't mean they can't buy him, but generally what happens is if you take a player on loan, there's no option to buy, there's an option to buy, or there's an obligation to buy. Now, obviously, the obligation to buy means you're pretty much tied into buying him once the loan is over. Option to buy means basically, there can be maybe a set price if you do want to come in and buy him at the end of his loan, that his parent club can agree with. And then obviously no option to buy means, well, look, we'll start negotiations. It basically covers the parent club to take him back if he plays well, and obviously Bayern Munich have had a change of manager over the weekend, and Thomas Tuchel is gone in as the new manager. So he might see something in Sabitzer that maybe, Nagelsmann didn't see previously. So it's going to be interesting. But Sabitzer has come out, if I can find it here, and says he's very happy at Manchester United. And the player would be happy to stay and play with Ten Hag, but it's up to Bayern. And this is coming obviously from Fabrizio Romano. Now, it is an area that Manchester United and Ten Hag specifically has said that they want to improve on over the summer. And, I think it's an area that we do need to improve on. Obviously, you're looking at the likes of McTominay, that's probably going to move on. I think Fred has done enough maybe to stay another year minimum. But we have our usual Casemiro, Bruno, and Eriksen coming back from injury as our main three midfielders. Now, Sabitzer has had a good start to his Manchester United career. He had a little bit of an injury, but he's playing well anytime he does play. And I do think he would be a good signing for Manchester United. I think he would be probably a squad player. I don't think he would get Casemiro, Bruno, or Eriksen out of a starting lineup. But I certainly do think he's a very good backup option. I don't really like using the word backup option, I have to say, because I think he is better than that. But when you're playing so many games, and like we've seen this season, we're still in all competitions. We've played a massive amount of games, and we've still got an awful lot to go. It's important to have players that you can rotate in and out of the team that are good enough, basically. I don't think the likes of McTominay is good enough. Obviously, we've got some young players in Zidane, Iqbal, Kobe Mainoo, these type of players. You don't want to be piling an awful lot of pressure onto them either. So I think Marcel Sabitzer would be a very good option to buy at the end of the season. I really do. And look, it all comes down to Bayern Munich. Supposedly, the United could get him for as little as 20 million. I think it would be an absolute steal. Again, the more performances he puts in, the better he plays between now and the end of the season. That number might creep up if Bayern decide to sell at all, and especially when you have a new manager taking over at the club. I think it can throw everything up in the air. He might say, well, look, I want to take him back for a season and see how he gets on with me. And then I look at maybe potentially selling him, But look, we'll see. We'll see at the end of the season. I would like to keep him, but we don't know. Now, obviously, Manchester United are in the market for a number of different areas, and we have been linked. We have been, I suppose, rumored to be looking at centre backs as an option as well. Now, not the main, but one of our primary targets, but not just ours. I think there's an awful lot of clubs going to be looking at him, is Napoli's Kim Min-jae. And he was asked over the weekend about his potential links with Manchester United. And he says, as you know, these are rumours and they're not true at all. I want to focus on my team. I have many tournaments to play. So, look, he's trying a bit of cold water on the rumours, linking him away from Napoli, which is quite common given the fact that Napoli are on course and are still fighting to win the Serie A for the first time in I don't know how long, a long time. So a player from a club like that's in the situation that they're in, they're not going to be, looking at too many distractions. They're going to want to, keep their feet on the ground, keep their head down, keep concentrating. I think these statements from him doesn't specifically mean that he's not going to move in the summer. He's a fantastic footballer. He's a very good centre-back. He's highly rated throughout Europe. An awful lot of top clubs are looking at him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United are linked with him more and more the closer we get to the transfer window and then into the transfer window as well. It is an area where we're going to have to improve on. We've seen the reports and the statements coming out from Harry Maguire this week in relation to his performances. And I mean, he basically came out and said, I don't have anything to prove. And I think it's a terrible, terrible statement from him. You always have to prove yourself as a Manchester United player, regardless of how good or bad you're playing, and David De Gea got a bit of backlash from it. He said it a couple of years ago. Now, he was playing an awful lot better than Harry Maguire, and he had multiple player of the years behind him. Manchester United player of the seasons behind him. So, and he didn't get maybe a pass from saying, I have nothing to prove. So Harry Maguire is certainly not going to get it. I would be surprised if Harry Maguire is a Manchester United player next year. I think there's too much negativity around him. I think Ten Hag doesn't like any distractions. I think he'll be moved on. I think he should be moved on. I've got nothing against Harry Maguire. He's just not good enough for Manchester United. So if we move him on, we're going to be looking at another centre back, and I think this Kim Min-jae would be a brilliant backup option. I really do. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is. Now, look, as we know as well, Manchester United are in the market for a striker also, and there has been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about certain strikers. Obviously, the main two is Osimhen and Harry Kane. They would be your primary targets. Very expensive targets, you would suggest, or you would think. Now, there has been reports, first and foremost, and we have heard reports on this player before in relation to Gonzalo Ramos. Now, huge numbers being talked about for this player here. Benfica's international Gonzalo Ramos is a 120 million euro target of Manchester United. Now, I do know he has a release clause of upwards of 100 million in his contract. So, look, I think this would be too much money for a player that's playing in the Portuguese league. He's doing very well. He had a very good World Cup. He got them goals against Holland, I think it was, and that kind of, put his name on the market. So, it's very interesting. I think this is going to be way too much money for a striker that's playing in the Portuguese league, albeit he is a very good one. So we're going to have to wait and see in relation to that. I'm not sure I would be comfortable. It depends as well. Manchester United are not going to have, I'm not going to say huge amounts, but we're not going to have unlimited funds with financial fair play. We still do have to be very careful on how we spend our money. And I don't mean careful in relation to breaking FFP. I don't think we're going to do that. But we have to be very careful on how much money we put into certain areas of this rebuild in relation to positions that we buy players. Do you want to spend 120 million on a striker and then maybe have limited funds for another midfielder or another centre back? Because the players that we are being linked with at the moment are not cheap. They really aren't cheap. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we're going to spend this kind of money on Ramos. I think it would be too much. But that all comes down to what the manager wants. And we did say that previously, that, if the manager wants a certain player, I'm going to be completely behind him, because he's earned that respect, and he's earned that, I suppose, he's earned that appreciation, given the fact that he bought so well in the summer, and given the fact that all of the players that he bought last summer have been playing so well for Manchester United. So no issues there. Now, another player that's been reported as a Manchester United target over the weekend. Now, I don't know if I'm going to say this player's name right. Ramos Højlund. I don't know if that could be completely wrong, but anyway. Look, Manchester United have a concrete interest in this player, although there have been no formal meetings between the players' representatives and the clubs so far. So look, I mean, this is another player that's in good form. Again, he would be coming from a league that isn't, it's not in the top European leagues in the country. So we haven't really heard anything in relation to a price tag on this player. He does seem to be sought after and does seem to be well respected throughout Europe as well. But again, it's something that I think we'll find out closer to the transfer window the more time goes on. But something like this, and it is something that I am happy to see, that Manchester United are being linked with alternative strikers to your Osimhens and your Harry Kanes. And I think it's something that we do need to prioritise as well. We seen last summer, we prioritised Frankie de Jong as our main target. We ended up not getting him. And then all of a sudden, it was a panic. Now, we panic bought. I still believe we panic bought Casemiro. But what a signing it's been, and what it was written in the stars, you could say, given how well he's done at Manchester United. That kind of reminds me of the Eric Cantona deal years ago, when it was actually the Leeds Leeds executive that rang Manchester United's executive looking to sign Dennis Irwin, and just off the cuff, he asked him about Cantona, and the deal was done. So, these kind of things can fall into place for you. But I am happy that Manchester United are looking at alternative options. And I do think that we should be looking at them as early as possible in the transfer window as well, given that we don't want to waste too much time going for a player that we might not get. Set your time limits. If you don't have them by a certain time, then move on to the next best option. And of course, we have been linked with an Irish striker, Evan Ferguson, and reports have suggested that Manchester United will send scouts to watch him play against France tonight in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. So, reports linking him to Manchester United are increasing. We've seen, different outlets, different media report on it. I don't think Manchester United will be the only team in for him. I think it would be, I've said it before, I think it would be a brilliant place for him to go. Given that Ten Hag is renowned for improving players and, giving him the next step up in their career, I think it would be brilliant. I don't think he would be coming in as a first-choice striker, like I said previously. I think he would be coming in as a backup option. I think that would be the right move for him in his career. He's a Manchester United fan, and I think if you do go out and get an Osimhen or a Harry Kane or whoever your first choice striker might be, if you have him as your backup option, guaranteeing him 15, 20 games a season, learning day in, day out, in 2-3 years' time, you're going to have a right good striker on your hands, and he would be, what would he be, 21, 22 at the most at that stage, coming into, really, really good territory. I think it would be a fantastic signing for Manchester United. I really do. And I think it would be one that, I look, by all accounts, he's a Manchester United fan. So I don't think it would take a lot to convince him if United do go in for him. I really don't. But look, let's see what happens, in relation to that. Obviously, Manchester United are going to buy a new striker in the summer. Whether we keep the likes of Anthony Martial, given how injury prone he's been this season, whether we give out Weghorst another maybe 1-year deal, if that's an option there, as well as maybe a third choice. I do think we need 2 strikers in the summer. I think either Weghorst or Martial will probably go. And I think, if you say sell a Martial, for example, and you buy for example, a Harry Kane and an Evan Ferguson, I think you're drastically improving your options as a strike, your striking options, which is very good, and I think it would be a positive thing for Manchester United. I really do. But look, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Who would you prefer? Would you like a Ramos? Would you like Evan Ferguson, a Harry Kane, a Victor Osimhen? Let me know your midfield options as well. Let me know, do you think any other options at centre back as well? But first and foremost, let me know your options or your opinions on Marcus Rashford, especially if you're a Manchester United fan from England. I know there's a good few of them that do watch the channel. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Rashford is right to put club ahead of, well, I'm not going to say right because technically he hasn't done it, but do you think he should be putting club ahead of country, or should it be the other way around? Let me know in the comments below, guys. We're going to be back tonight for Ireland versus France in a watch along, so I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, Ireland are going to have a really difficult opponent in France, but we've seen Ireland turn up in big games before. So check that one out, guys. If you want to join me for it, we're going to be live from, I think, is it 7:15? Let me just double check what time the match is on at here. And we'll let you know what time we're going live. Let me see. Yeah, 7:45 is the game. So we'll be live from 7:15 tonight to do Ireland versus France. Come check it out. Jump into live. Get involved in the chat as well. Appreciate everyone watching, guys. Please smash the like button if you're watching back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We do these morning shows Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. And we do all of the Manchester United watch-alongs throughout the season as well. Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Check us out on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We've got a Discord group as well. Links are in the description for all of them. But I appreciate you watching. Until tonight, take care. See you in the morning.